Thank you, everybody. Hi, everybody. My name is Oakwalker, and welcome once again to Earth Medicine for the Soul, which is our joint podcast with me and my friend Stronghorse. And well, here we go on number 12.
All right. Uh, Time flies when you're having fun,
Yeah, yes.
So, everybody, today we're going to kind of circle back a little bit to Oakwalker's original story about when he was sitting on the curb in California and pretty much waving the towel and waving a white flag and saying, all right, somebody's got to come up with something because I
Yeah,
run out of bullets, and and his guides came in and said, you're doing it backwards. He says, you give and then we respond. And is that correct? I mean, that kind of
that's basically
what I
what
was
it
just.
boils down to. Yeah, it was like, okay, so we've told you this over and over again, and you understand this, but you don't understand this. What goes around comes around. I was like, yeah,
Right.
what goes around comes around. They said, no, what goes around comes around. It took me a while. My guides are like this, quite often. They're like, get a pencil, idiot. I'm going to spell it out for you. And
Well, I
so,
think all of us do that. We keep trying to file it in something we understand,
uh,
and then and if we understood it, we would have gotten it already.
right. Like there just
That's
have to be
the
certain
that's the
things,
dichotomy. No, this is new. This
right?
is new. Oh, new. Okay.
Oh, I get it now. Yes, I have heard that a
Oh my.
thousand times, but certain things had to happen before I got my aha moment, And that I see that all the time, not only just with me and other people as well, because my kids even and friends, I'm like telling them the same thing over and over and over again. And then years later, they're like, oh, now I get it. And it's because certain experiences in their life experiences had to, um, enhance. That you got to put the whole puzzle together. Am I breaking up?
Or you got to fire up the right brain cells,
Right.
for it to land. Because you're right. I mean that's evolution, man. I mean that's how it works. I mean we can't, you know, everybody talks about, well, we've got a thread running through this, but in the thread is just part of the tapestry, and there's
Hmm.
a whole lot more going on in the tapestry. And for us to kind of it takes a while for us to get the whole picture of how it works. But so anyway, what me thinking about this past week, and I thought, what came to mind was the Beatles and that song where they sing about the love you take is equal to the love you make.
Yeah, I used to fall
And,
asleep to that.
and so I thought, wow, why am I thinking about that? And what came up for me was right now, everything is so insane. What's up is down and what's down is up. And everybody's like, man, how do we get out of this, or how does
Yeah.
what's the solution, or what is the answer? I mean, what are the questions? I mean, it's really kind of a chaotic thing going on. And so you've also got a lot of spiritual people coming out and saying there's solar flares and we're getting this, the age of Aquarius is upon us, and
Yeah.
the consciousness is going to blow up. And I mean,
It's all
it's
part of a
just,
grand plan.
yeah, it's just, oh man, it's just all over the place. So I was trying to process this all together. And what came up for me is, I recall I was in this relationship once, and the woman did something for me completely unsolicited and unexpected, and it was a very intense way of her showing her care for me, and I mean, I
Hmm.
think it was something simple like getting a blanket for me or something here, and here, you look chilled or something. I mean, it was just a really nice, wonderful gesture on her part.
Yeah.
And I looked at her and I said, that's what you need to be doing all the time. Just
Hmm.
that. That's what you need to be doing all the time. And from the look on her face, I could tell immediately she had no clue what I was talking about because she was thinking, her first thought was, yeah, well, I got news for you, man. I'm not going to be your lap dog. And, and that's not at all what I was trying to say. I was trying to say, look, you know, if you give unsolicited like that, if you just do small little caring efforts like that, the payoff's huge. The payoff
Yeah.
is huge. And
Yeah.
and it will absolutely radicalize your life. And that's a guarantee. It really will. And so, putting all these things together, I try to assimilate all this stuff and figure out why am I thinking about this and what was
Yeah.
that up
Yeah.
for me and this and I started thinking, uh, that probably right now might be the single most important thing that we can convey to people is just start looking for something somewhere every day where you can do and demonstrate a moment of kindness unsolicited
Yeah.
and try to surprise the person. Make it
Uh-huh.
make it what we have. On my path, we have what we call warrior task assignments, and it's you go out and try to do certain things in life so you can take your teachings out of the classroom and apply them in real life and see how they work.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
then come and assimilate. Well, how did it work?
Yeah.
Now look, there's no doubt that anybody knows that you start emanating kindness to a lot of people. One, you're going to freak a lot of people out
Hmm.
because they're going to have the same responses I used in that demonstration. They're going to be, what do you want?
Yeah.
You know,
Wait a minute.
what are you
Stop
looking
trying to
for?
manipulate me. Yeah.
What's your angle, man?
Hmm.
You know, and so you just got to go with that, and it's
Yeah.
because how they respond to you is none of your business.
Well,
The important part is the act,
yes.
and so if you just start making those efforts, I mean, your whole life will turn around. I mean, do you think is that true, man? Is that a valid statement? What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. It is an absolutely valid statement. But two things. One, when you start to do this, it's essential that you stay true to yourself in your own mind so that when people do come back at you and start saying, "What's your angle?" you're not going, "Well, what is my angle?" It's like you need to understand what your intentions are, stay true to your intentions and hang on to that. Because if you're not doing something, that someone is accusing you of doing, then you're not doing it. And that's important for your integrity and it's important um, for anyone's forward progress as you start to move through the kind of changes that we're discussing in a person's life. Secondly, and that this is critical, uh, and it's also a two-parter. One is what goes around comes around, but it's not going to necessarily come back around from the person it went out to. And that's a critical
Right,
thing. You're sending stuff out to
right,
the universe and you're sending it out through people. And it's not a deal. This isn't a bargain. It's not transactional. Love is not a deal. You send out love
right,
and someone's going to either receive it or not. But the fact that you sent it out there means that it's going out and it's going all the way around the universe and collecting stuff up just like what it was. And then it's going to come back into your life. And that's the second part of the two-parter thing is that it ain't going to happen in the next 10 seconds or today
right,
or tomorrow, maybe not within a month. The witches that I used to study with, I'm sorry, they're not witches, they are Wiccans who like to use that word witch, but in that's a tricky word. So I'm going to try and avoid it. But they
Right.
like they like the moon cycles. And when I put up herbs, I put up some herbs yesterday. I put them up in the new moon. And when I put herbs up and put them, that means when I put them up, it means I'm putting them in the alcohol and the water and the juice, the menstruum, in order to extract the properties, the herbal properties out of them, so that I have a liquid medicine when I'm done. That takes 2 weeks, and I do it at the new moon because the moon literally does help draw out moisture and stuff out of the ground, out of the air as the moon grows fuller. So that's a 2 week cycle. That's a very common
Mm.
cycle in nature. It's a very common cycle in, let's call it spell casting, and in the kind of attitudinal magic that we're talking about putting out into the world, right? So there's a 2 week cycle, there's a 1 month cycle, there's the 7 year cycle. I mean, all these cycles are pretty much dependent on the numerical relationships of the universe and how things spin around and stuff. But the cycles are for real. And the cycles are, they're there to, that's, the cycles are like the forces on the spinning wheels, or the gears, let's say, of what all of these processes turn on in the universe, right? So it takes time. That's all of that was about. It takes time. You're not going to get an immediate result. This isn't transactional. You need to sit back and wait for the good moment.
Well, I
And
think
then,
I think that hits on some of the stuff we were talking about before.
mhm.
You can't do this with any expectations
Yes.
at all. I mean, you can't have expectations. Is this going to work or not work? That's not what it's about. What it is
Hmm.
about, you're trying to build a compounded presence within alignment with the universe.
Yes.
And so when that occurs, then the universe starts dancing with you, and then things start changing, and they start
Uh-huh.
changing in a radical way.
Yes.
Because what they do is they start feeding your authentic self.
Yes. Exactly. And
And as your authentic self, and then you start shedding all the BS and all the,
yeah,
all the disguises and all of the craziness that you've been accumulating
they
through
practically
food.
fall away on their own.
Yes, exactly, exactly. And it's not a traumatic thing. It can be, but it's not. And so that's the other thing to consider is you have to just soften up and
Yeah.
and and be receptive to these energies return to you without expectations. But
Hmm.
so the important thing is what you put out, because the love that you
Yeah.
take is equal to the love you make. And
That's
so,
right.
you know, but don't start measuring it. Just get out there and look for places to where you can, if you're in the grocery store and maybe there's some short lady trying to reach some, spaghettios up on go do it. Go grab it for her. You know, just say, hey,
Yeah.
whatever it is, because the universe will start providing you with those little situations.
Right. At which, and after that, so this leads me, my next thought is in it. So once you get that, okay, once you see the truth of that and it's working in your life, and the amount of love you receive is equal to the amount of love that you give, then it's possible for you to actually give more and more
Right.
and more, because there isn't everybody's not doing this, right? It works, and everybody's not doing this. Not everybody
Right.
is all you need is love. A lot of people are still out there under my thumb, instead of the
Right.
all you need is love crowd. And so, in order to maintain balance, then it becomes a very fruitful exercise for us to continue to give and continue to give and give and give and give and give because we're balancing the world out for the people who have just made those choices to literally be as selfish as possible.
Yeah, and I think we were talking before about the term washichu, the Lakota
Yeah.
word for fat eater.
Yeah.
That's their slur for the white man, and
Hmm.
and it's deserved, well deserved. I mean,
Absolutely.
I find it. I mean, when I'm hanging out with any the locals, Dakota, guys, I mean, I find it humorous. I mean, I'm the first one to pop off. Oh, here comes another washichu.
Uh-huh.
And they kind of look at me like, wow, man, how do you,
Yeah, what do you know about that?
yeah, how'd you learn about that term, But, you can't, here's the thing too, you can't do anything about those folks. You can't do anything for them,
Or
like
or yeah,
you're
or
not
to them. Mhm.
to them. You can't change them. A lot of people think, well, how, man, I'm going to go out here and find another Trump supporter and save them or something, or that's what the Christian nationalists are doing. That's
Yeah.
what they're basing their whole theory on is they got to save everybody.
Yeah.
They got to get out there and show them the right way so that,
Yeah. By
I mean,
forbidding them to be what they are.
yeah, exactly. Because they don't know what the authentic self is. They have no idea. Very few
Hmm.
people do. I mean,
Mm.
we don't live in a world where authentic existence, which has to be both physical and spiritual,
Yeah.
in a co-creative state, so that there's so that the situation between the spirit and the physical is that statement of the love you make is equal to the love you take, or the love you take is equal to the love you make. There's
Hmm.
that balance that's got to occur within inside each individual so that the spirit and the physical are both honored in equal measure.
Hmm.
And so and when that happens, authenticity naturally occurs.
Yes.
And I think that this is it's a subject we probably ought to really tap into, because I think that that's really, obviously I think what we're seeing in the plan right now is the non-authentic situations is running its course. It is
Uh-huh.
obviously like, this ain't working.
Yeah.
This is not working. And so what?
Uh-huh.
Now what do so where do we go from here? And authentic beingness is really, I think, probably as close as I could come to describing what should be in the future. And the best way
Right.
to develop that authenticity is start looking for things to do to show your kindness. Unfiltered, unsolicited, undiminished, just let it happen,
Yeah.
and I think that you will find, and that's what I mean by your authenticity comes up, it'll radicalize your life, man. Is that valid? You go with that?
Absolutely. Um, and it never stops. I mean, so here's the danger there is that people are going to start, dismissing one another because of an inauthentic moment or because their
Right.
authenticity isn't being fully expressed at that time. And I'm going to tell you, I'm 70, I'm still learning it. My authenticity gets better every day, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend like, oh yeah, I've got that down.
Oh,
Because no, it's
that's,
because it's a constant growing process.
yeah, well, that would be non-authentic.
Yeah.
That would be that
Yeah,
would
that would.
be a that'd be a fat eater right there,
Right. Yeah, there you go.
I pretty much got this.
Oh yeah,
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 well,
I don't need it.
I
I'm
guess you want
done.
another helping then, right?
Who needs all that wisdom? I'm good.
Right. This wisdom's not really made up what it's supposed to be, I don't think,
Yeah, and
Oh man.
that's yeah, and that discussion's going to lead us into. I like how you said it's inauthenticity is kind of run its course because it's unsustainable. Always has been, always was, always will be. But I don't know what happened to the planet, but somehow I was telling this kid the other day, he goes, "Do you believe in fate?" I said,
Fate,
fate,
fate, F-A-T-E. Yeah.
Fate. Do you believe in fate? And he was like, he was really what I think he was getting at was, is my destiny foretold and inviolable? And I told him, well, no, I don't really believe in fate so much as that, you can't change your fate because you're a co-creator in the universe and you really do create your own future with the choices and the decisions that you make. Criminals go to jail because they made a lot of really criminal choices. There's a gross example of that, right? But then I said, but there are also processes in the universe that once they're released, that they have to play out, kind of like a bowling ball being released down a bowling alley. It's not something you can just like stop. And I think we've released so many of those worldwide that we're just watching this whole huge tumult play itself out to the end. And those of us with some authenticity in our lives are the ones out here trying to say, no, listen, wait, stop. We can make this, we can smooth this out. You know, yeah, it's probably going to be brutal, but by doing exactly what you recommend, approach the world with kindness. Be kind, and we can make the rough spots a little bit easier to negotiate. That's kind of where
I would add to that, you know, there's nothing wrong with ruthless kindness too. I don't, there's a lot of people immediately think kindness, they go sort of extremely feminine,
yeah, that
and
wishy-washy thing.
yeah, and that's, I'm on a different tack with it. My idea of kindness is a direct action with full intention to do this thing for this person or this situation because I see the opportunity presented itself and I'm going to step into that.
Well, truth is
You got to start
kindness.
wait, huh? Yeah, with kindness. No, you got to be looking. I mean, saying the little old short lady trying to reach for the SpaghettiOs up on the third shelf, that may sound trivial, but it's not. Okay. It's not because you were
Right.
there in that moment when that little lady popped up and needed to try, and you saw that and it caught your attention. Why did it catch your attention? Because the universe said, all right, let's see what you got.
Okay.
Show me
Yeah.
what you got. All right, there's the opportunity. So there's nothing trivial about it. I mean, it's a direct on challenge. Do you walk your talk or do you just talk your talk? Let's
Right.
see what you got.
Right.
You know,
But by the same
and
token,
so
you're not going, here's your SpaghettiOs, bitch. You know, I mean,
what?
truth is kindness, right? But
Yeah.
but a brutal kindness uh could easily go way over the top. But a straight truth, which I think is what you're referring to when you say brutal kindness, is um is often the kindest thing to do. Like, no, you really aren't the greatest basketball player that I've ever seen.
Well, when I say ruthless kindness,
Uh-huh.
I'm saying that you have to have the discipline to hold out yourself to be ready to catch minimal chance.
Hmm.
Because it's just as easy to walk by and go, oh, look at the little old lady reach for the SpaghettiOs. That's
Yeah,
funny.
yeah,
And head on out and go to the produce. You have to have that discipline to
yeah,
know that that moment is for you, man. It's
yeah,
for you. And
yeah.
so boom, you go. That's ruthless. It's not ruthless in that, like you said, hey, you poor little idiot. Let me grab the beans for you. I mean, that's not what I'm talking about. you know,
So
and
maybe
I want to go back
relentless
on
would be a better word.
Relentless, yes.
relentless kindness. Yeah.
I want to talk about another piece real quick about the fate piece.
Mm.
Okay, all right, I totally believe in fate and destiny, but the difference is if you aren't in at least some level of authenticity, you'll never know
Right.
about
That's
fate
true.
or destiny.
Uh-huh.
You know, because you aren't allowing your spirit to lead you. And if you're not allowing your spirit, your higher self knows exactly whether you have fate or destiny.
Hmm.
Okay. But if you're not allowing that to come through and to guide you, just like we're saying, if you get presented with the opportunity to help a little lady get her beans off the third shelf, that's important. You
Yeah.
know, that's important in ways you can't even imagine because you're recognizing your spirit has caught that attention. I mean, the reason you and I are sitting here talking right now is because I let my spirit talk to me about who you are when we first met,
Uh-huh.
and I realized, okay, we got to connect with that guy, and there were
Uh-huh.
plenty of other people in the circle that I didn't connect with.
Hmm.
That was the Crystal Skull Society or whatever we
Yeah.
call it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, so I think there's a lot of people that have fates and destinies, but if they're not tapping into their authenticity, they'll never know.
Yeah. They won't be able to see it because they can't see through the noise.
Exactly. They're too busy trying to deal with their non-authenticity, which
Right.
is which is a struggle.
Yeah.
They're struggling against what's really your natural way of doing things, and
Yeah.
so you're completely occupied with this chaotic struggle, which is insane.
Yeah.
But there's not enough teachings out there for people to be able to understand. No, there's another way. You
Uh-huh.
know,
Right.
you don't you don't have to fight like this. This is totally insane. You're doing everything backwards.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're trying to accomplish, I think, with this podcast is to be able to get to some other people to say, look, there's ways to you can start opening yourself up to an alternative life that
Yeah.
gives to you in ways that you can't even imagine.
Yeah. And that it's not the way we did it, but there is out there a way for you already ready for you, waiting out there for you to just go ahead and go take a look at it. You don't have to be that one-armed paper hanger trying to keep up, the facade in front of you all the whole time, you know.
No, I agree. I mean, I think um, I'm sure that if you and I had an honest examination of what we experienced through our shamanic path, we both realized that wow, we really did some stupid shit.
Oh yeah. No,
You know,
I'm well aware I
yeah.
did
I
a lot of
mean,
stupid shit.
yeah. But I mean, we had to. I mean, because I mean, and I think you fully have to embrace the fact that everyone's beginning as a child
Uh-huh.
and then growing and learning more and then getting better at this and better at that and that's a natural evolution.
Hmm.
Hopefully somewhere down the line we can have a different conversation and say, yeah, the new people that are coming into the planet need to be uh, taught these teachings because it'll help them to assimilate into the current state of evolution of where we are right now.
Yeah.
And that'd be the goal. That would be the conversation to have. But right now, I mean, we're all trying to figure it out. Nobody's
Hmm.
got nobody's got all the answers. If we did, we wouldn't be faced with the kind of insanity that's going on this planet right now.
That's a fact. And we're going to have to take that up in the next discussion, um,
Okay.
because we're at like 32 minutes. So no, we're kind of over. So I'm going to close this one out and let's start
Go ahead.
over. Hmm. And so let me do the right thing. Faithful listeners, thank you very much for the time that you've spent with us and for your attention and patience. And I hope that you choose to come in and visit with us again. And there is also going to be our website called earth-ems.com, so that we'll be able to answer
.org, huh?
questions. It's .org. That's right.
.org.
Yeah, .org. Whoops. Earth-ems.org. And so from there, we're going to be able to provide all kinds of resources that you may want if you have any questions that you want answered. And there might even be there will be a email question and answer kind of thing going on there, so we can talk to you directly as we move on through this project. So thank you very much, and I'm going to stop all this, and we will see you next week.